I'm standing near the wine station, tilting a bottle of Burgundy toward the ambient light, examining the label with the practiced eye of someone who's built an empire on knowing exactly what belongs in a glass and what belongs in the trash. The vault, this renovated bank vault turned VIP dining room inside my Arum restaurant, hums with the kind of quiet wealth that whispers rather than shouts. Steel doors that once protected millions now guard something far more valuable tonight, secrets that will shatter lives. The bottle in my hand is a 2015 Domaine de la Romane Conti. $15,000 of liquid history. I've already approved it for tonight's service, but I need to verify the temperature one more time. Details matter when you're orchestrating the downfall of international criminals, while your family toasts to their own destruction. Excuse me, honey? The voice drips with synthetic sweetness, the kind that coats condescension in sugar. I don't need to turn around to know who it is. Serafina Sterling has a particular vocal quality like wind chimes made of sterling silver, appropriately enough. All shimmer, no substance. I set the bottle down and face her. She's wearing head-to-toe Chanel, or at least what she wants people to believe is Chanel. The tweed jacket fits well enough, but I've spent enough time studying luxury to spot the slight irregularity in the chain stitching. The handbag, though that's the real tell. A Birkin in what she'd call gold Togo leather. It's a good fake. Very good. The kind that costs $3,000 instead of $30,000. Her eyes scan me from head to toe, lingering on my simple black ensemble with the kind of assessment a jeweler gives to suspect stones. Something flickers across her face recognition, maybe, of the clean lines and perfect drape that only the row can achieve. But instead of acknowledgement, her lips curve into something that could pass for sympathy if you weren't looking closely. "You poor thing," she says, and then her hand moves toward me, extending a crisp $20 bill like she's feeding a parking meter. "Here, buy yourself something nice to eat, honey. It must be hard standing here watching rich people dine." The paper crinkles between her manicured fingers. French tips, professionally done, probably the only authentic luxury she's wearing tonight. She thinks I'm the help. She thinks I'm a waitress, or perhaps some destitute Powell cousin who showed up hoping to snag leftovers from the engagement party. She has no idea that I, Valerie Powell, am the one who paid for every element of this evening. The $40 per pound Osatra caviar, the Japanese A5 Wagyu that costs more per ounce than gold. The centerpieces of Phalaenopsis orchids shipped overnight from a specialty grower in California. Every fork, every crystal glass, every threaded stitch in the custom Italian linens. And she definitely doesn't know that I'm the one holding the key to sending her straight to a federal prison. I should correct her. I should tell her exactly who I am. But something stops me, a cold calculation that's been 3 months in the making. There's power in being underestimated. There's freedom in invisibility. I take the $20 bill. My fingers close around it, and I feel the texture of the paper, the slight wear at the edges. It's probably from her wallet, pulled from a stack of bills she got from her last victim. Money that should belong to some retired couple in Tampa who thought they were investing in their grandchildren's future. "Thank you, Serafina," I say, keeping my voice soft, grateful. The sacrificial lamb accepting crumbs from the wolf's table. "That's very kind of you." Her smile widens, satisfied. She's performed her charitable act for the evening. "Of course, darling. We all need a little help sometimes, don't we?" She pats my arm. Actually pats it, like I'm a golden retriever who's learned to sit. Do try the canapes before they clear them away. The smoked salmon is divine. The smoked salmon that I selected from my distributor? That I approved after 3 separate tastings? That costs $60 per pound. I promise her. Thank you so much. She glides away, her fake Birkin swaying, and I watch her return to the table where my family sits. The vault's lighting, carefully calibrated to suggest old money and older secrets, catches the gold hardware on her bag, and I make a mental note. Evidence. All of this is evidence. The table itself is a study in desperation dressed as celebration. My parents, Thaddeus and Blythe Powell, sit at the head, their expressions tense beneath forced smiles. My mother's wearing the Mikimoto pearls my father bought her 20 years ago, back when Powell Industries actually meant something. My father's suit is Brioni, but it's from 3 seasons ago, taken out for special occasions and carefully maintained because there isn't money for new ones. They're looking at the Sterling family, Montgomery, Cordelia, and their daughter Serafina, like drowning people look at life preservers, because that's what this engagement represents to them. Salvation. away back into the circles they've been slowly sliding out of since the family business started its inevitable decline. They look at the Sterlings and see aristocracy, old money, European refinement. I look at the Sterlings and see a file 3 inches thick. Interpol red notices. Financial crimes spanning 4 continents. $50 million in damages from a virtual real estate Ponzi scheme so sophisticated, it took the FBI's Financial Crimes Division 9 months just to map the money trail. But right now, my parents see their golden ticket, and they're clutching it with both hands. My brother Preston sits beside Serafina, his hand possessively on her knee, wearing the expression of a man who thinks he's won the lottery. In a way, he's managed to convince a woman far smarter and more dangerous than he is to pretend she's in love with him. Preston, who couldn't close a deal if the client was holding the pen to the contract. Preston, who's been coasting on the Powell name his entire life while contributing exactly nothing to its legacy. Everything that was mine, they've taken. My parents' approval, my family's respect, my inheritance, piece by piece, pawned off to maintain appearances. But tonight, I'm taking something back. I fold the $20 bill and slip it into my pocket. I'll frame it later, I think. A reminder of this moment. The moment Serafina Sterling handed me $20 and thought she was being generous. I smoothed down my black blazer the row, from their latest collection, $5,000 of Italian cashmere so fine it feels like wearing shadow, and walked toward the table. Time to play my part. To understand why I'm about to sit through an evening of calculated humiliation, we must look back to the moment the fuse was lit, 3 months ago. The moment my brother Preston came home for Sunday dinner, practically vibrating with excitement, and announced he'd gotten engaged. Her name is Serafina Sterling, he'd said, showing us a photo on his phone. A beautiful woman with honey blonde hair and the kind of smile that said she knew exactly how beautiful she was. Her family is from, well, they're basically aristocracy. Old money, European. Her father, Montgomery, he's brilliant. He's working on this incredible investment opportunity, virtual real estate in emerging markets. It's revolutionary. My mother had actually gasped, clutched her pearls. Sterling? Montgomery Sterling? I've heard of him. Wasn't there an article in Forbes? Preston interrupted. He was profiled last year. The future of digital investment, they called him. I'd said nothing, just watched my brother's eyes, the way they gleamed when he talked about Montgomery's opportunity, the way his hand kept moving to his pocket, like he was already counting money that didn't exist. I'd learned a long time ago that when something sounds too good to be true, it's because someone very smart is working very hard to make you believe the lie. So I hired a private investigator. Marcus Webb, former Secret Service, now running his own firm, specializing in financial background checks. I gave him 2 weeks and a blank check. He came back in 10 days. The file he handed me wasn't about petty scams or credit card fraud. It was about a criminal enterprise so sophisticated that it spanned 4 continents and had over 300 victims. The Sterling family, Montgomery, Cordelia, and Serafina, were the architects of a virtual real estate Ponzi scheme that promised investors returns on digital properties in metaverse developments across Dubai, Singapore, and Sao Paulo. The properties didn't exist. The developments were fake. The returns were paid from new investors' capital, classic Ponzi structure, but executed with such technical sophistication that by the time victims realized they'd been defrauded, the money had been laundered through 13 different offshore accounts and converted into assets across 7 countries. Total damages, $50 million. The Sterlings were operating under Interpol red notices in different countries. They'd evaded capture by constantly moving, never staying long enough for extradition proceedings to catch up with them. They'd refined their method over 8 years, leaving a trail of bankrupted retirement accounts, foreclosed homes, and shattered lives. And now they were in my brother's life, in my city. At my family's dinner table, I'd taken the file straight to the FBI. The Chicago field office put me in touch with Agent Vance from the Financial Crimes Division. He was in his mid-40s, with gray threading through dark hair and the kind of tired eyes that come from spending years watching smart people do terrible things for money. He'd spread the file across his desk, studying photographs of the Sterlings at various charity galas, always impeccably dressed, always charming, always moving. We've been tracking them for 18 months, he'd said. The problem is jurisdictional. The country where they've been laundering most of the money, there's no clear extradition treaty with the US. We can't just grab them. We need them to commit a predicate act on American soil. Something we can catch them doing in real time, in our jurisdiction, that gives us authority to arrest immediately. What kind of act? I'd asked. A financial crime. Wire fraud, specifically. We need them to accept money from a US citizen for a fraudulent investment, with the transaction occurring on US soil. Once they accept those funds, we have our predicate act. Then we can move on the larger RICO case. He'd looked at me then, really looked at me. Your brother mentioned that the Sterlings were going to pitch him an investment opportunity at the engagement party. Is that still happening? Yes, they're asking him for $250,000. Something about a virtual kitchen development in Dubai. Virtual kitchen? Agent Vance had almost smiled. New scam, same structure. Miss Powell, what I'm about to ask you is entirely voluntary. You can say no, and we'll find another way. But if you're willing, we need someone to be the investor. Someone who can wear a wire, make the transaction, give us grounds for arrest. You want me to be bait. We want you to be an asset, he'd corrected. You're not an agent. You won't be armed. You won't make arrests. You'll simply facilitate the transaction that gives us legal authority to move. The moment money changes hands, we come in. I'd thought about it for exactly 5 seconds. What do you need me to do? The memory fades as the cold reality of the vault reasserts itself. I'm walking toward the table, carrying the weight of that decision like a second skin. The room's temperature is precisely controlled at 68 degrees, but I feel cold. The kind of cold that comes from knowing you're about to detonate a bomb that will destroy your family along with its intended targets. I slide into my seat at the far end of the table, the position they've assigned me. Not at the head with my parents, not beside my brother. At the end, where the conversation flows around me without requiring my participation. Oh, Valerie, Serafina says, noticing me for the second time tonight. Her eyes do that scan again, lingering on my outfit. I can see the calculation happening behind her smile. She knows quality when she sees it. The question is whether she'll acknowledge it or weaponize it. She chooses weaponization. I see that top, she says, her voice carrying just enough volume for the table to hear. It looks just like something from the Rose new collection, doesn't it? The dupes are getting so sophisticated these days it looks quite durable too. Very fitting for your budget and your practical line of work. My mother's fork pauses halfway to her mouth. My father's expression shifts into something between embarrassment and apology. Preston doesn't even look up from his phone. Counterfeit. Dupe. Budget. Practical. Every word is a calculated strike, designed to establish hierarchy while maintaining plausible deniability. She's not insulting me, oh no, she's complimenting how well I'm managing my limitations. It's masterclass gaslighting. Yes, I say, keeping my voice even. It is very durable. Serafina's smile widens. Mission accomplished. She's established that I'm wearing knockoffs, that I'm the poor relation, that I'm beneath her concern. Across the table, her father Montgomery raises his wine glass. Shall we toast to the happy couple? His accent carries the faintest trace of what he wants people to think is British aristocracy, but Webb's report identified it as pure affectation. Montgomery Sterling grew up in Newark, New Jersey. His real name is Montgomery Sternberg. To Preston and Serafina, my mother says, her voice trembling with hope. May your future be as bright as your love. I raise my water glass. The irony of the toast isn't lost on me. Their future will indeed be bright with fluorescent prison lighting. Preston finally looks up from his phone, and for just a moment, our eyes meet. There's something in his expression, a flicker of something that might be guilt or might be calculation. Does he know? Has he suspected that the Sterlings are frauds, and he's chosen willful blindness because the alternative means admitting he's been played? Or worse, does he know, and he doesn't care, because he thinks he'll get his share before it all comes crashing down? I watch him turn to Serafina, watch him kiss her cheek, watch her hand rest possessively on his shoulder. My parents are too busy fawning over Montgomery and Cordelia to notice their own daughter sitting at the corner of their celebration. They're asking about the Sterling family estate in the Cotswolds. It doesn't exist. About their charitable foundation, defunct. About their connections to minor European nobility, fabricated. And the Sterlings, polished professionals that they are, answer every question with practiced ease. They've played this role hundreds of times. They know exactly how much detail to provide, exactly when to be modest, exactly how to make themselves seem simultaneously impressive and approachable. This is what $50 million in fraud looks like. Not ski masks and guns, not crude threats or obvious lies. Just beautiful people in beautiful clothes, telling beautiful stories, making everyone at the table feel like they're on the verge of something extraordinary. And I'm the only one who knows that the extraordinary thing waiting for them isn't wealth. It's handcuffs. I take a sip of water and settle in for the performance. Agent Vance is somewhere in this restaurant right now, wearing a sommelier's uniform, waiting for his cue. The wire taped to my ribs feels hot against my skin, recording every word. The $20 bill Serafina gave me crinkles in my pocket. I smile at my family, at the Sterlings, at the whole elaborate charade. Tonight, there will be no mercy. The chandelier light catches something on Serafina's wrist as she reaches for her water glass. My breath stops. My grandmother's Cartier watch. The one with the Art Deco face and the tiny diamond at 12 o'clock. The one she wore every day until her hands got too frail to clasp it. The one she pressed into my palm the week before she died, whispering, "For you, darling. For when you need to remember who you are." The one I kept in my bedroom safe. The one Preston has a spare key to. Serafina notices me staring. She extends her wrist with theatrical grace, letting the light play across the platinum band. Gorgeous, isn't it? Preston gave it to me last month. He said it was a family heirloom, but that I deserved to wear it more than... She catches herself, manufactures a delicate wince. I'm sorry, Valerie. I shouldn't have said that. I force my gaze to Preston. He won't look at me. His eyes are fixed on his bread plate like it holds the secrets of the universe. It's beautiful, I say, my voice steady as stone. Grandmother would have loved seeing it worn. The lie tastes like copper. Grandmother would have thrown her wine in his face. But I don't need to fight this battle now. That watch, with its serial number registered in grandmother's estate documents, will serve a different purpose. Evidence. Exhibit C in the case against Preston Powell's character, when the lawyers start circling and he's desperate for anyone to believe he's a victim too. Let Serafina wear it. Let her post it on social media, timestamp it, geolocate it. Every photo is another nail. Montgomery clears his throat, breaking the moment. I must say, Valerie, your choice of restaurant is exceptional. Though I'm surprised a place of this caliber would hire someone without proper training in... He gestures vaguely at my server's uniform. The finer points of service. Everyone starts somewhere, I reply, refilling his water glass with practiced precision. The motion is muscle memory now. Tilt at 45 degrees. No splashing. No sound. Cordelia laughs, the sound like wind chimes made of razor blades. How philosophical. Though I do hope you're saving your wages, dear. The service industry can be so unpredictable. My mother shifts uncomfortably. Even she seems to sense the cruelty, though she'd never dare challenge the Sterlings. Not when they represent Preston's golden ticket. Actually, I say, I was hoping to show you all something special tonight. I catch Agent Vance's eye across the room. He nods, almost imperceptibly, and disappears through the service door. Preston straightens slightly. Valerie, you don't have to. I want to. I smile at him, and it's almost genuine. Almost. Family should celebrate together, right? Serafina exchanges a glance with her father. There's something in it, a flicker of calculation, of predatory interest. They think I'm about to embarrass myself. They're waiting for it, practically salivating. Agent Vance returns carrying a crystal decanter on a silver tray. The wine inside is the color of garnets, of dried blood, of expensive mistakes. He sets it down with the reverence it deserves. No label visible, no indication of what it is. I was gifted this bottle. I say carefully, watching their faces. By a client. I honestly don't know its value. I thought tonight would be the perfect occasion to open it. Montgomery's eyes light up. This is his moment. The expert, the connoisseur, the man who can identify quality at a glance. Agent Vance pours with professional efficiency first a taste for Montgomery, then glasses for Cordelia and Serafina. He offers one to Preston, who takes it with trembling hands. The sommelier's face is perfectly neutral, but I catch the ghost of something in his eyes when he glances at me. Mockery. Anticipation. We both know what's coming. Montgomery swirls his glass with exaggerated expertise, holds it up to the light, inhales deeply, his face contorts. Well, he pronounces, setting the glass down with barely concealed disgust. I appreciate the gesture, Valerie, but this is, how do I put this delicately? He doesn't wait for an answer. This wine is far too acidic. The tannins are practically non-existent. If I had to guess, I'd say this is table wine. Supermarket quality. Perhaps $8, $10 a bottle? Cordelia takes a sip and nods gravely. I'm afraid Montgomery's right, dear. There's no complexity here. No depth. Serafina swirls her glass like she's seen people do in movies. It's very... She pauses, searching for words she's heard before. Bold. Oaky. Almost aggressively so. I bite the inside of my cheek to keep from laughing. The wine in their glasses is Domaine de la Romane Conti, Premier Cru. The kind of Pinot Noir that wine collectors bid on at auction. The kind that costs more than most people's cars. $15,000 a bottle, and they just called it oaky. Pinot Noir, the most delicate varietal in the world. Known specifically for its subtle, silky texture, its complete and utter lack of oak influence when done right. Agent Vance catches my eye. His expression doesn't change, but I see it the glimmer of satisfaction, the confirmation we both needed. These people are frauds, not just con artists running a scheme, not just criminals hiding behind expensive suits and practiced accents. They're hollow, empty vessels wearing the costume of wealth, speaking lines they've memorized but never understood. They can fake the vocabulary, the confidence, the condescension, but they can't fake taste. Preston takes a small sip and says nothing. I wonder if he knows. I wonder if some part of him recognizes that he's drowning, that the people throwing him a rope are actually tying an anchor. Thank you for your honesty, I say softly, taking the decanter from Agent Vance. I'll make sure to tell my client you found it. Lacking. Montgomery waves a dismissive hand. Think nothing of it, dear girl. You're learning. That's what matters. The chandelier light catches grandmother's watch again. I smile. They have no idea what's coming. Cordelia dabs her lips with her napkin. The gesture so rehearsed it looks choreographed. Well, she announces. I think now is the perfect time to discuss why we're really here tonight. Montgomery reaches into his briefcase Italian leather, probably real, and withdraws a glossy presentation folder. The cover features a skyline I recognize. Dubai, all glass and gold and impossible angles. The Dubai Virtual Kitchen Collective. Cordelia begins, her voice taking on the cadence of a practiced pitch. We're in the final stages of securing our founding investors. This is a revolutionary concept. Ghost kitchens serving multiple delivery-only brands from a single location. The Middle Eastern market is exploding, and we're positioned to capture it. She slides the folder toward Preston. He opens it with shaking hands, flipping through pages of charts and projections that probably look impressive if you don't know how to read financial statements. The returns are extraordinary, Montgomery adds, leaning forward. We're projecting 300% ROI within the first 18 months. Our Dubai partners have already secured the permits, the locations, the infrastructure. All we need is the capital to launch. Preston's Adam's apple bobs. How much capital? Montgomery's smile could sell ice to penguins. We have one founding position remaining, $250,000. It's a significant investment, I know, but Preston. He places his hand on my brother's shoulder like a proud father. You're exactly the kind of visionary partner we need. Someone who understands opportunity when it presents itself. The silence stretches. I can hear my father's breathing, quick and shallow. My mother's fingers tap against her wineglass 1, 2, 3, nervous rhythm. Preston opens his mouth. Closes it. Opens it again. I don't have that kind of liquid capital right now. The market's been volatile, and my portfolio is diversified, I'm sure. Montgomery interrupts smoothly. But opportunities like this don't wait for perfect timing. They require decisive action. He reaches back into his briefcase and produces something that makes my stomach clench with anticipated satisfaction. A point-of-sale machine. Credit card reader attached. The kind you see at farmers markets and food trucks. Montgomery sets it on the table between the wine glasses and bread plates like it belongs there. Like conducting a $250,000 transaction over dinner is perfectly normal. We can process it right now, he says. Serafina and I are flying to Dubai on Friday. If you want your name on the founding charter, we need your commitment tonight. Preston's face has gone white. He looks to our father, who stares back with an expression I know too well, desperation wrapped in expectation. Don't embarrass us. Don't fail. Don't prove that we bet on the wrong child. My mother's hand finds Preston's arm. Sweetheart, this is your future. I don't. Preston's voice cracks. I can't just. Serafina places her hand over his, the Cartier watch catching light. Baby, I know it's scary, but you have to trust us. Trust me. This is how my family built everything we have. You take the risk, you reap the reward. I watch my brother crumbling. Watch him looking around the table for a lifeline, for someone to tell him it's okay to say no, it's okay to walk away. No one does. So I do what I came here to do. Let me help, I say quietly. 6 pairs of eyes turn to me. Serafina's narrow with immediate suspicion. You? I have savings. I reach into my apron pocket, my fingers closing around the simple blue card I placed there 3 months ago. I've been working for 10 years. I was planning to use it for a down payment on a condo, but I let my voice catch, just slightly. Just enough. Family comes first. Right, Preston? My brother's eyes fill with tears. Valerie, no, I can't let you. You're not letting me do anything. I pull out the card, plain blue plastic, logo of a local bank. Nothing impressive about it. I trust you. I know you'll pay me back when the investment comes through. It's the perfect bait, the ultimate con. A poor, naive little sister, sacrificing her life savings for her worthless brother. A stupid girl who doesn't understand money, handing over everything she has because family manipulated her into it. Montgomery's eyes actually glitter. I can see the thoughts racing behind them. This is even better than we planned. Not just Preston's desperation, but his sister's stupidity. 2 victims for the price of 1. The predator instinct activating, salivating at the wounded prey offering itself up. He reaches across the table. Valerie, that's incredibly generous. Are you absolutely sure? I'm sure. I place the card in his palm. Our fingers touch briefly, and I feel the tremor in his hand. Excitement. Greed. The thrill of the hunt. He's so focused on the card that he doesn't notice Agent Vance watching from the corner, doesn't see the way the sommelier's hand moves to his pocket where his phone waits. Montgomery inserts the card into the reader with practiced efficiency. Types in the amount. $250,000. The numbers glow on the small screen. He flips the machine toward me. PIN number? I lean forward, blocking the view with my body, and enter 4 digits. The machine processes. Loading. Loading. Declined. Montgomery frowns. Preston exhales relief or disappointment. I can't tell. Oh no. I let panic creep into my voice, reaching for the machine. The bank probably flagged it. Large transaction, unusual activity. Let me call them. I can authorize it. My hand goes to my phone. My fingers move quickly, typing a message that looks like I'm calling the bank but is actually sending 3 words to a number with a 202 area code. Green light. Activate. I'm so sorry, I say, looking at Montgomery with wide, apologetic eyes. Can you try again? They said they've cleared it. Montgomery's smile returns, sharper now, hungrier. He swipes the card again. This time, the machine thinks longer. The loading bar creeps across the screen like a fuse burning toward dynamite. And then, approved. The machine spits out a receipt. Montgomery catches it, eyes scanning the confirmation number. The amount. The timestamp. $250,000. Transferred from a nobody's checking account into an offshore holding company that, as of 4 minutes ago, is actively monitored by the FBI, FinCEN, and Interpol. Montgomery looks at the receipt like it's a golden ticket. His smile is genuine now, the smile of a man who thinks he's won. Cordelia actually claps her hands. Welcome to the family, Preston. You're going to be so grateful you took this leap. My father finally releases the breath he's been holding. My mother's eyes are wet. Preston just sits there, head bowed, looking at his hands. Looking at the man who just let his little sister give up her future to save his. Agent Vance refills water glasses, his movements methodical, unhurried. The receipt sits on the table like a confession. And the trap snaps shut. Montgomery's fingers close around the receipt like it's a winning lottery ticket. His other hand slides beneath the table, subtle, practiced phone already unlocked. I watch his thumb dance across the screen, initiating what should be an instantaneous wire transfer. 3 months of FBI surveillance taught me exactly how he moves money. Immediate layering, satellite accounts in 3 jurisdictions, funds dispersed before the merchant batch even closes. His smile is magnificent. Pure, unfiltered greed. Then it cracks. His thumb swipes again. Harder. The confident rhythm stutters. He taps the screen with increasing force, his jaw tightening almost imperceptibly, the kind of tension that starts in the temples and spreads. Is the network here down? His voice maintains its veneer of casual concern, but I catch the edge. The first hairline fracture in that polished facade. I take a slow sip of the Domaine de la Romane Conti. $15,000, tastes like vindication complex, layered, absolutely worth the wait. I let the silence stretch just long enough to become uncomfortable before I set down my glass with deliberate care. The network is fine, Montgomery. My voice comes out colder than the Chicago winter outside. Colder than I knew I was capable of. 3 months ago, when Agent Vance first approached me with surveillance photos of Preston leaving Montgomery's downtown office, I wasn't sure I could pull this off. The deception. The performance. But watching Montgomery's face drain of color, I realize I've become someone new. Someone who doesn't flinch. It's just that your accounts have been sealed. I pause, savoring each word like the wine. That $250,000 isn't going into your pocket. It's the final piece of legal evidence to trigger an international arrest warrant. The room goes absolutely still. Montgomery's eyes dart to the steel vault door, the same door I admired on my way in, thinking how perfectly symbolic it was. A former bank vault, now trapping the biggest financial predator in Chicago. His hand clutches the receipt harder, crumpling it slightly. That little piece of thermal paper, that predicate act, that caught in the act moment the FBI has been building toward for 18 months? Valerie? My mother's voice quavers. She doesn't understand yet. None of them do, except Montgomery. He knows. I see it in his eyes the exact moment he realizes he's been played. The sommelier straightens from his position near the wine credenza. Except he's not a sommelier. Agent Vance sheds the subservient posture like a snake shedding skin. His shoulders square, his expression hardens, and suddenly the man who spent 20 minutes explaining terroir becomes someone else entirely. Someone who's been documenting every word, every gesture, every incriminating detail, through the sophisticated recording equipment built into that wine key on his belt. FBI. His voice carries the weight of federal authority. Montgomery Sterling, you are under arrest under the RICO Act for operating a $50 million Ponzi scheme. The vault door explodes inward. Not literally, though the sound of it slamming against the interior wall might as well be an explosion. 6 tactical agents in full FBI raid gear pour through the opening, weapons drawn, movements precise and choreographed. They've practiced this. Of course they have. You don't take down a red notice target without rehearsal. Hands on the table. Now. Montgomery complies, but slowly, like he's still calculating odds. Cordelia gasps, her hand flying to her throat in a gesture so theatrical it would be funny if it weren't so pathetic. Serafina doesn't move. She sits frozen, her investment smile replaced by something rawer. Fear, maybe, or fury. Hard to tell in the chaos. Preston shoots to his feet. What is happening? Valerie, what did you do? Sit down, sir. An agent's hand clamps on his shoulder, forcing him back into his chair. Not gently. My parents huddle together like wounded birds. Thaddeus keeps sputtering. There must be some mistake. We're respectable people. We don't. But his voice gets lost in the mechanical recitation of Miranda rights. Agent Vance cuffs Montgomery personally, cinching the metal tight around those manicured wrists that signed off on fraudulent prospectuses for over 300 investors. I stay seated, calm, sipping wine while federal agents swarm around me like I'm the eye of a hurricane. Serafina finally finds her voice. You lying fraud. You set us up. I turn to her slowly, deliberately. Let her see the absolute absence of guilt in my expression. No, Serafina, I didn't set you up. You set yourself up when you decided my family was stupid enough to be marked. I rise from my chair with unhurried grace, smoothing down my black robe blazer. I just made sure you got caught. I walk around the table, my heels clicking against the polished floor. Serafina's Birkin sits on the empty chair beside her, that status symbol she's been clutching like a security blanket all evening, eager to display it. I pick it up, feeling the weight of it. Good leather. Substantial, but not quite right. You know what's interesting about Hermes? I turn the bag in my hands, examining it under the ambient light. Real Birkin bags have hand stitching, slightly irregular, because a human artisan makes each one. Takes 18 hours. I flip it over, running my finger along the seam. Machine stitching is perfectly uniform. Like this. I hold it up so she can see. So everyone can see. And the hardware? Real Birkin hardware is palladium or gold-plated. It catches light a certain way. But stamped gold on Togo leather? I tap the logo plate. That's a $1,500 knockoff from a very good counterfeiter. Serafina's face transforms. The mask of pitying sweetness, the condescending smile, the fake concern, all of it evaporates. What's left is rage. Pure and undiluted. You spiteful, vindictive. The word you're looking for is thorough. I set the bag down with a dismissive thud. You've been playing dress-up with fake luxury, taking money from desperate families, and pretending to be old money for so long you forgot what real looks like. An agent moves to cuff her. She jerks away, but there's nowhere to go. The vault that was supposed to impress her, supposed to make her feel exclusive and important, has become her cage. This is entrapment. Cordelia shrieks as another agent restrains her. You can't do this! Agent Vance doesn't even glance her way. Ma'am, your daughter and husband have been under federal investigation since March of last year. Miss Powell became a cooperating witness 3 months ago. Everything that happened here tonight was legal, recorded, and witnessed. He holds up the crumpled receipt Montgomery tried to hide, including this predicate act, which establishes Mr. Remender Sterling's intent to launder funds obtained through wire fraud. Montgomery says nothing. He's already calculating his next move, which attorney to call, which assets are truly hidden, whether he can flip on his partners in the Cayman Islands. I see it all playing across his face, but it's too late. The FBI has been inside his operation for over a year. They know where every dollar went. Preston starts crying. Actual tears. I didn't know. Valerie, I swear I didn't know what they were doing. You have to believe me. I meet his eyes across the chaos. My brother. My weak, envious, cowardly brother, who stole our grandmother's Cartier watch and let his fiancée wear it like a trophy. Who watched me drain my life savings into a scam and said nothing. Who always chose everyone else over me. I believe you didn't ask questions, Preston. That's not the same as not knowing. The agents begin herding the Sterling family toward the door. Montgomery walks with his head high, already performing for whatever jury will eventually see him. Serafina resists, until an agent threatens to carry her. Cordelia sobs about her reputation, her charity board, her country club membership. None of it matters anymore. The vault empties slowly, agents and criminals filing out in a choreographed exit that feels almost anticlimactic after the storm. Agent Vance pauses at the threshold, meeting my eyes with something that might be respect. You did good work, Miss Powell. The Bureau appreciates your cooperation. I nod. We're not friends. We were never going to be friends. I was a means to an end, just like he was for me. But there's a mutual acknowledgement in that moment we both got what we needed. Then he's gone, and I'm alone in the vault with my family. Just the Powells now. The way it started. My parents sit across from me like wax statues melting in real time. Thaddeus's face has gone gray, the carefully maintained tan-looking sallow under the ambient lighting. Blythe's hands shake as she reaches for her wine glass, then stops halfway, like she's forgotten how to complete the motion. The dream of high society, of finally belonging to the world they've been performing for, has shattered. And they must know, that I'm the one who broke it. Preston slumps in his chair, still crying softly. The kind of crying that's more about self-pity than genuine remorse. I reach into my bag and pull out a legal document. The paper is crisp, official, bearing the letterhead of one of Chicago's most aggressive property management firms. I place it on the table between us with the same care I used to set down that blue debit card an hour ago. Different transaction, same finality. This is a notice to quit. My voice doesn't waver. I've practiced this moment in my mind for 3 months, but saying it out loud still feels surreal. I bought this building last month through my holding company, the one you didn't know I had. You have 30 days to vacate the property. Blythe blinks. Once. Twice. Like her brain is buffering, unable to process. The building. Our building. You bought. She can't finish the sentence. My building. I correct. The brownstone on Astor Street where you've lived for 22 years. Rent controlled. Under market value. Protected by legacy tenancy clauses that made it almost impossible for the previous owner to evict you. I lean back in my chair. Almost. But everything has a price, including legacy protections. Thaddeus finds his voice. You're evicting your own parents? I'm severing a toxic dependency. The clinical language helps, makes it feel less like matricide and more like surgery. You raised me to believe that family loyalty meant sacrificing everything: my education fund for Preston's business ventures, my career aspirations for your social climbing, my dignity for your approval. But loyalty isn't supposed to be one-directional. We gave you everything, Blythe's voice cracks. A home, opportunities. You gave me a roof and resentment. There's a difference. I slide the document closer to her. The eviction is legal. There will be no extensions, no negotiations, no last-minute reprieves. You have 30 days to find alternative housing. I suggest you start looking tomorrow. Valerie. Thaddeus tries the stern father voice, but it comes out weak. Hollow. This is cruel. Yes. I don't flinch from the word. It is. But cruelty, as you both taught me, is sometimes necessary for survival. You were willing to let me fund your social ambitions with my life savings, with money I've been earning since I was 22, building a company you never believed in. You were going to let me be defrauded because it was easier than confronting the uncomfortable truth that the Sterlings were too good to be true. Preston's head snaps up. You knew? Even before the FBI? I suspected after the first dinner with them. Serafina's story didn't add up: the timeline of her father's investments, the vagueness about their actual business model, the way Montgomery always steered conversation away from specifics. I finish my wine. But you were so happy, Preston. Finally marrying someone from good stock. Finally making mother and father proud. So I hired a forensic accountant. You hired a forensic accountant. He found irregularities within 10 days. By week 2 and 3, we had enough cooperation with the FBI. I was sitting in a federal building signing cooperation agreements. I set down my glass. I've been orchestrating this takedown for 3 months while you all planned a wedding funded by fraud. The silence that follows is absolute. Even Preston stops crying. Then the vault door opens again. Not FBI this time. Chicago PD. 2 uniformed officers and a detective in a rumpled suit. Preston Powell? The detective's voice is professionally neutral. We need you to come to the station for questioning regarding your role as an accessory to wire fraud and money laundering. Preston goes white. Actually white, like someone drained the blood from his face through a tap. Accessory? I wasn't. He spins toward me, desperation replacing self-pity. Valerie, you're a CEO. You have great lawyers. You can bail me out. I didn't know anything. Tell them. I look at him. Really look at him. My older brother, who was supposed to protect me, guide me, be on my side. The brother who stole Grandma's Cartier watch from my jewelry box and gave it to his fiancée. Who watched me swipe a blue debit card for $250,000 and didn't say a single word to stop me. You stole Grandma's watch. My voice is flat. Factual. You let me invest my life savings into scammers without questioning it. You're 35 years old, Preston. An adult. I stand, gathering my bag with unhurried precision. The officers move toward him. Valerie, please. The $15,000 bill for this party will be mailed to your address. I button my blazer. The wine, the venue rental, the private service, all of it. You can figure out your own legal defense while you're at it. I pause at the vault door, looking back one final time. Good luck. You can't just leave me. His voice cracks into something approaching a wail. Watch me. I walk out of the vault. Behind me, I hear Preston arguing with the officers, Blythe pleading with the detective, Thaddeus demanding to speak to someone in charge. Their voices fade as I move through Orem's main dining room, past tables of oblivious diners enjoying their meals, past the host stand, where Julian gives me a subtle nod. The restaurant's front door opens, and Chicago winter hits me like a wall. The air is biting, sharp enough to hurt my lungs, but crisp, clean. The kind of cold that wakes you up and reminds you you're alive. I stand on the sidewalk for a moment, breathing it in. No regret, no guilt, just relief. I didn't save my family the way they wanted, with money, with status, with the social climbing they've been attempting my entire life. I didn't sacrifice myself on the altar of their ambitions. I saved myself from them, from the expectation that I would always be less than, always be the black sheep, always be the one who gave and gave and gave until there was nothing left. A luxury car pulls up to the curb. Black, sleek, anonymous. The driver steps out and opens the rear door without a word. I hired this service 3 months ago, the same day I signed the FBI cooperation agreement, planned for this exact moment. I slide into the leather seat, and the door closes with a solid, final, thunk. Through the window, I watch Orem Restaurant recede as we pull into traffic. The building that housed my company's flagship location, the vault that became a trap, the family that never really saw me, all of it shrinking into the rearview mirror. The driver doesn't ask where I'm going. He already knows. My penthouse, my real home. The one I bought with money I earned, in a building I actually own, in a life I built without their help or approval. The city lights blur past, and I realize I'm smiling. Not the fake smile I've been wearing all evening, not the performance smile, the CEO smile, the dutiful daughter smile, a real one. I pull out my phone and scroll to a message from Agent Vance, timestamped 6 minutes ago. All targets secured, charges filed. You're clear. I delete it. Then, I delete his contact information. That chapter is closed. The car glides through Chicago's streets, leaving the chaotic past behind forever. Somewhere behind me, my family is unraveling. Somewhere ahead, there's a future I get to write myself. For the first time in 33 years, I'm not anyone's daughter, anyone's sister, anyone's disappointment. I'm just Valerie Powell, and that's more than enough.